Do the Seattle Mariners have an MVP in 2024? Find out more in today's video. First off, I want to say thank you to Simply Seattle for hooking your boy up with this fire hoodie. You're going to be seeing this in a lot of videos throughout the year, so make sure you go check out some of their other stuff that they have on their store. But to address the topic of today's video, you know we're going to be discussing Julio Rodriguez as possibly being an MVP candidate in 2024 and what he really needs to do to be able to pull this off. So I'm going to be going into some of the things that Julio obviously does extremely well and some of the crazy statistics that he already has at the age of 23, but also some things that he really needs to improve on from his 2023 campaign in order to be an MVP, top MVP candidate for this year. So just starting off like we usually do with some of these videos with the FanDuel odds of him winning the MVP this season, he is currently 5th behind Yordan Alvarez, Corey Seager, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge at plus 1,200. So FanDuel has him as the 5th best odds to win the AL MVP this season. So let's go over some of Julio's accolades from his 2 seasons in the MLB. He's a 2-time AL Silver Slugger. He was AL Player of the Month 1 time. He was a 4-time AL Player of the Week, and as we know, a 2-time AL All-Star. Among AL outfielders in 2023, Julio ranked 1st in hits with 180, 2nd in runs with 102, 4th in home runs with 32, 3rd in RBIs with 103, tied 2nd in extra base hits with 71, 1st in total bases with 317, and 2nd in stolen bases with 37. So let's also kind of compare Julio's first 2 seasons in the major leagues from 2022 and 2023 to kind of see where the numbers either go up or down. But mind you, in 2022, he didn't play as many games as he did in 2023. So in 2023, he had 4 more home runs than the year prior. He had 28 more RBIs, 7 more walks, 30 more strikeouts, 12 more stolen bases, and 3 more hit by pitches. And his batting average went from 284 in 2022 to 275 in 2023. And like I said, mind you, this is in 23 less games in 2023 because he did play in 132 games in 2022 and 155 games in 2023. But for you guys, this obviously isn't news. We know Julio Rodriguez is a great player and he's most likely going to be a future Hall of Famer for us. And hopefully he can win a World Series, which obviously we know he has the mindset to do. He's really been locked in this offseason and he actually just had a press conference today at spring training. This quote was from Daniel Kramer. He posted on X saying, "I wasn't happy with it. I feel like a lot of people can say, oh, like he was 4th in MVP, he did this, he did that, how can you not be happy? But I feel like there were a lot of moments that I feel like I should have done better." And these are words straight from Julio's mouth and during this interview that he had today. And he's even been seen posting on X after the Super Bowl because he was at the Super Bowl, him posting, "I just want to know what this feels like." So we know Julio's on his grind and he really wants to bring a championship home to Seattle. So you got to love that mindset for a guy who's had 2 crazy seasons and just still wants to get better and better every single year. So let's get more into what Julio really needs to do in order to pull off a 2024 AL MVP campaign. Because while obviously he is a fantastic player and he does a lot of things well, his outs above average is 4th in MLB last season. So not only is he a fantastic bat, but he's also great in the field, which is also something we know. But there are, like I said, a few things that really stand out and where Julio can really improve on in 2024 that can really make him get that much better. And let's start with some things that we know the Mariners really struggled with last year, and that's strikeouts. So the list that you see on the screen is the top 10 batting leaders in terms of strikeouts. And obviously we know Gino and Teo were on that list. They come in behind Kyle Schwarber at 2 and 3. And Julio surprisingly is on that list, and it might not be a surprise to some of you, but he is ranked 9th in all of the majors in terms of how many strikeouts he had last season. So he was, in terms of the strikeouts, part of the problem in that sense. His chase percentage last year was up 4% from the year prior, and we know in big situations we'd see him be a little too over-aggressive on sliders, and he'd really just be out in front and just bait at everything. And that was kind of our main frustration with Julio when he was struggling last year, is he was being too over-aggressive. He swung out of his shoes every single time, which obviously he can do. He has that ability, but at certain times it's time to simplify and kind of just do your job in a sense. So that's the number one thing Julio really needs to focus on, is his strikeouts going into 2024 if he really wants to compete for the 2024 AL MVP, because you look at guys when they win the MVP, they're hitting in the 300s, and obviously a 280 batting average is fantastic, but really in terms of competing for the MVP, you really got to hit around that 300 range. But let's kind of get into a few pitches that Julio really struggled with this past season, especially compared to his 2022 year. I'm going to pull up another graph on the screen from Baseball Savant comparing the batting averages from the 2 seasons. So as you can see with the 4-seam fastball, he only dropped about .005 in terms of batting average from 2022 to 2023. In terms of the slider, it pretty much stayed the same from 261 in 2022 to 260 in 2023. But this is the pitch that really had Julio struggling this past season, and obviously it's in a lot less at-bats, which 86 he had in 2022, but he was hitting 352 against a sinker, while in 129 plate appearances where he saw a sinker, he was hitting 273. So you're talking about almost a 70 batting average drop-off. At the end of the day, he really really didn't strike out that much against it. He only had a 10.9 K percentage against the sinker, when in 2022 he had a 23.3. So he really didn't struggle that much in terms of striking out against it. He just didn't have that high of a batting average as he did the year prior. Which brings us back to the four-seam fastball, which you can see in 2022 he had a 19.6% K percentage against it, but in 2023 he had a 25.3% K rate, so almost 6% higher than the year previously. So like I said, he really did struggle kind of with that fastball. But now let's also combine that with the changeup, where he hit 293 against a changeup in 2022 and only 226 against the changeup in 2023. And also the K percentage did jump almost 4%. Or 3% from 24.2% up to 27.3%. And kind of the last pitch we want to talk about in this situation is the curveball, where he did hit 279 and then hit 269 in 2023, but his K percentage was still really up at 38.2%, which was an improvement from 2022, but it's still really up there at almost 40%. And that's kind of the number one thing pitchers really look out for when they go against Julio, is kind of that over aggressiveness. So if he's sitting a fastball, last season a lot of people complained that he couldn't turn on an inside fastball if it was 95 plus. Obviously, that kind of got changed a little bit when he hit that home run against Kansas City to take the lead off that 97-mile-an-hour fastball in on his hands, which was really impressive. But that's kind of the one thing a lot of fans think that he can really improve on, is turning on those inside fastballs and getting his hands in fast enough. And truly just being able to stay off the curveball that's out low and away, which is really what Teo, Gino, and Julio all struggled with last year, is being able to stay off that curveball or slider in the other batter's box that they really just struggled so badly with. So a big factor for me is truly whether he's going to be able to actually get this MVP is if he really improves on his strikeouts and stops chasing pitches that are out of the zone. Similar, like I said, to what Gino and Teo did last year, where it was just so frustrating being able to watch them because they would just bite on the same pitch every single time. So if he can get that chase percentage down to about 30%, I'll take it, because that's a 7% drop off from what he was at last season. So that's a really big improvement in my eyes. But now I kind of want to go into his FanGraph 2024 projections to really see if these numbers that they're projecting are good enough to win an MVP award. So FanGraphs has Julio playing in 156 games, getting 672 plate appearances, where he's going to have 33 home runs, 102 runs scored, and 107 RBIs. So that is a little bit of an increase in terms of home runs and RBIs. His K percentage is going to drop 2.4%. He's going to go from a WRC plus of 126 back up to a 132, while also having a 5.7 win above replacement, which would be a 0.02 drop off from the 2023 season. They also have him having 33 stolen bases, which is 4 less than he had in 2023. So obviously from a fan perspective, this is fantastic. Like, we would take this year from Julio without a doubt. But now this is where I kind of want to tell you guys my opinion on whether this is really enough. So truly, to give you my honest opinion, the only chance that I see Julio really being able to compete for an MVP award is if he has over 35 home runs, he sits in that 105 to 115 RBI range, and he can steal over 40 bags. Some people would even say that he needs to be in the 40-40 club to even really stand a chance, but I think anywhere from 35 plus home runs is really a good starting point for him in order to really be able to compete for this award. And some of you may say this is a little much to really be pushing it like that, but you have to look at the guys that have won the MVP. Shohei Ohtani won it last year, hitting over 300, over 40 home runs, and he didn't even play in a lot of games. Obviously, we don't have to worry about Shohei anymore, but a guy like Aaron Judge, if he puts up the year he had in 2022, going out and hitting 50 plus home runs while still hitting 300, he obviously won't stand a chance. So truly, in my mind, the number probably is about that 40-40 range, but I'm going to give him about 35 plus home runs in order to really compete for it. But truly, at the end of the day, I just want to see Julio go out and win us a championship, which we know he really has the capability of doing, and he wants to do so badly for us. So to me, I just really want to see Julio go out and have another fantastic year and really just get us deep into a playoff run. But like I said, if he does want to compete for this MVP award, he really does have to push the envelope and really get up there and start hitting around 300 while maintaining that consistent power that he has. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think and what numbers Julio would have to put up in order to win an MVP this season. But otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.